You're listening to the Build a Better Business series from the More Than More podcast. We're here to share the tools and strategies you need to journey from survival to significance with your leads, team, systems, and money. Let's get started.
Oh, I have to wait for that drop.
Yeah, the drop is good. Okay.
Happy Friday, Angela.
Yeah, happy Friday.
It's actually Good Friday.
It is.
Which we were having discussion. So is it happy or is it not happy?
Not actually textbook happy.
Okay, we'll move on from that topic. Good morning, everybody, and or afternoon.
Yeah.
This is an impromptu kind of conversation. We're kind of stealing your slot.
Yeah.
Just to have a chat.
But I think it's perfectly in the space, as I was just listening to that intro too. Like, we are going to focus some time talking about how to build better businesses' money. It's perfect.
No, we're firmly in your space.
Yeah.
But I think just getting off script a little bit, I think what I had maybe asked for this conversation, you have recently completed the second transition of the financial, I keep calling it 4S, but I need to start saying this right, the financial survival to significance course.
Yeah.
Man, this thing is such a complicated is the wrong word, but it's a big, broad, hairy beast of a tapestry.
Yeah.
It's really only 4 things and 4 components to each and 3 transitions, but it's a lot of moving parts.
It is.
So you just got done teaching transition 2, which I'm super excited to hear about.
Yeah.
And I think the context here, and help me think this through, was just to set the stage for maybe where we're at, what we're learning so far about running through the financial stuff. Because this is an overhaul of stuff we've been doing for 10 years now. We've been teaching finances within our company far more intentionally than I think any brokerage
else.
that I know of. Mm-hmm. But this is the first time we've done it in this packaging and with this maybe roadmap in mind.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think the previous versions were not bad, because we were definitely stepping into a space that we're doing it more than anybody. I mean, I don't know anybody else talking about what in the world to do with your money and how to set up things in a smart way and those kinds of things. So what we were already doing was great. This is so much clearer and more approachable as far as the journey goes. So this pathway is just key.
Well, that's what I'm curious about, because I would agree. I would say that, but that's because I've been sitting behind closed doors working on this material with you.
Yeah.
And so it's like my child. So it's easy to say, yeah, my kid's great. but you've had the luxury now of sitting in several rooms and coaching through this in this new iteration, knowing what you went through when you were trained on financial.
And then what we had after before. Even I was trained, and then this. Yeah, I've seen all of the journey.
So talk me through, let's get to the roadmap later, but I'm just curious, tell me about your experience teaching the second transition to the couple of locations you taught it.
Yeah, it was super fun. I liked so much that there was context. So going back into these spaces after teaching transition 1, where we went through that survival to stability phase, it was so fun to have people in that room who did the first round as well, and to see their growth of their journey. Like they've made progress. That's and cool. They could see the steps. And just, again, start with the end in mind is I think where the key point is here, and breaking it down into the parts and pieces. So that was a really fun thing for me as well, to see some of that actual progress and growth. But then I would say that there were people that didn't see the first one, and they were also okay. Like, you didn't have to go through the first one to be able to get a lot of value in the second space, from stability to success as well. So
because the first transition is intentionally very fundamental.
Yes.
And if you never saw any of the first transitions, you may be able to jump in the second.
And be okay.
If you've been selling for a while, you can catch up and understand it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that was intentional in the design, is that we made these 3 specific transition points between the 4, what do we call them? The grids, the survival, stability, success, significance. We made them not bite-sized, but accessible. Because I think what we had before was a training direction where we threw too much at people too early.
And it wasn't in a way that was oriented to really walk away with easy, tangible to-dos.
Tangible steps.
Yeah.
Let's talk through the 3 transitions real quick. For anyone that's not familiar with this, then maybe let's remind everyone of this journey. Obviously, survival, stability, success, significance is our journey, and we don't have to get into what each of those look like, because I think we know that journey across lead, systems, team, and money. Yeah, we understand the progression. Yeah. But maybe if you could dig into what are the 3 transitions between those points, at the highest level? Like, what's transition one all about?
Yeah, transition one is all about building a business, right? And the fundamentals of this, it's really funny to me when you're going through this first transition, it's so much less about money and figuring out the top of your funnel, because if you have nothing in your funnel, you are not going to have money. So it was a fun, interesting transition because, of course, we spend a lot of time teaching through how to get leads and how to manage them, because that's the most important thing that's going to get you business to have money. So the first one is just build the business and then start thinking about the business in the money space as well.
So before you move on, so transition one from survival to stability, it's an interesting insight. You're saying it's really not about money
yet.
And yet it is, because I was translating that to Caden and other businesses and spaces I get to speak with people. Fundamentally, the first transition in any business on the finance portion of it is one, you must create revenue stream.
Yeah, you have to have business to, yes.
Well, business is a way to put it, but business is like sides or, but when we start to think money begins with revenue.
Yeah.
The top of the P&L. And so step one, if we're going to build out our financial infrastructure, is we must first ensure we have a revenue creation model that puts GCI at the top of the funnel, but then ultimately real revenue.
Yeah.
And so most of the first module is about that. What are the other financial components of the first one?
Yeah, it's the really simplistic things, and it's approachable in the way, like, just start thinking about how your money should flow. So that was the next key part there, is just getting your accounts in order so that your money can start to flow correctly to help build upon that.
It's funny, we used to do this, I'm way off track here, but I grew up in the ocean and there were these lagoons near the beach, and they would shore up. And so they'd have all this water, and then we would dig a teeny tiny little line from the lagoon to the ocean, and a little trickle of water would start to flow.
Okay.
And once you set that flow in motion, then it would just get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And eventually it was so big we could actually surf on these things. We could ride waves, stationary surfing.
Okay.
You get the point?
Yeah.
I think early on, setting the flow correctly,
it's going to make a huge difference.
Because it'll grow into the flow that you create.
Yes.
And so we start with really, really bad habits on our financial flow.
Yes, for sure.
And what we're trying to do is say, look, set the flow up correctly, even if you can't pay yourself a salary yet because you don't have enough revenue.
There's way more fancy footwork later.
Yeah, but set the structure correct, because then we can build on a good foundation. And so it seems like that's most of what transition one's about.
Yeah, and I would say less about your business finances in this space, as well as there's just work to be done at home.
Yeah.
Like you just got to get your home stuff in order when you're so new as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. That has to get kind of figured out first. So that's kind of the three, I would say, main big idea components of that first transition and build a business.
Help me real quick on transition one with your intentions moving forward. So transition one to me is entry level. It's what we do for every really new agent needs to go through that. And we're going to coach that, just once a year, twice a year moving forward?
I think once a year to moving forward, but my ideal magic wand world is this also does live in that self-study space where you can go not only get the amazing resource that already lives in the Forge, but then also listen to kind of an audio of walking you through that. So a live version and a self-study
Because it's
version.
Core curriculum for any agent now joining our company to go through transition one of all the lead systems team and money. Yeah,
and really one other thing to say to everybody in these spaces that I pointed out when I taught this, it's not necessarily chronological. That's the other really aha moment I'm having teaching this, is there are people who've been in this business 10 to 15 years who in this quadrant are still in survival to stability mode.
Maybe they're in significance in other areas, but they've got to go all the way back and build this foundation.
Yeah. So, so I just want everyone to hear also, like, this is not a chronological journey. This is if you didn't know where to go, you may not be as far along in this space.
Well, I think it's true in business, but it's true in life as well. I think finances and money has been one of the dark, shadowy areas that we hide because we don't know, and we think that everybody else does, and so we pretend. And so I like that honesty moment. Okay, so transition 2 is what you've been teaching. Transition 2 is fundamentally about
growing the bottom line. So this is where, you actually start that. Now that you have your revenue stream and you're thinking about the cash flow correctly, this one's just really all about starting to analyze the business and the business books. So you do get more into the business budget side of things. You get into P&Ls, and you start to think about your business and maybe incorporate. So we talked about incorporating the business as well. So that cash flow piece becomes even more important. So you need some actual kind of things set up to be able to do the things that we're going to go do with our money as far as how it's going to flow from here forward.
So why don't we save transition 3 for the end? So what I'm interested in is what you've learned and experienced having coached now for, several years, but really this year for the first time, this new format.
Yeah.
So I've got several questions. What are people finding the most helpful going through T1 and T2 this new round? What are you getting the best reaction about? Where are you what are you experiencing with people?
Yeah, I think making it approachable, taking all the things and cutting it down to bite-sized nuggets. I think that's the most helpful thing, especially in transition 1, where you can go, okay, yep, I can do that. That's not so hard. That's not so scary. I will say the biggest aha I had then going and teaching transition 2, it's a big jump. It's a really big jump. I feel like
it's a few years worth of work.
Yeah. It's not as, I can knock that survival to stability stuff out relatively easily, and I can see it, and I can make progress on that. To go truly from stability to success in this space, there's a lot more work to be done. And also then I go back to leads, team, systems, like some of those other things really need to be working well for you to really boost this next stage up.
They're symbiotic. They're connected. You can't drag one too far forward without the others being in tow.
Yeah.
So wait, you're telling me that I'm not going to be able to build a significant business overnight?
No. And in this space too, I feel like if we could get everybody even to the success space with their money, like I think that's a win. It's so big that would be a huge win.
Well, it's transformational. That is fundamentally not the case anywhere in the real estate community.
No. I did have...
We are winging it on the finance side.
Oh, 100%. I had people say after class, like, people that have been other places and have transferred here. No one has ever told me any of this. Like I had no idea. This is so insightful and valuable to see what I need to do because no one's told me.
And are they saying that the feedback you're getting, I could frame that through a sense of liberation, like now I know. I could also frame it through oh crap, like I'm so far behind, or what's the emotional reaction to uncovering all of this to do?
Yeah, I can definitely feel different feelings in the room, looking around the room. It's a very interesting thing, right? Because I remember what it was like to be in that survival to stability mode for sure. So I feel like I can definitely empathize with the people in the room. And I do see some big eyes in going, oh crap. Like this is scary and I have a lot to do. And it seems big still.
I've been playing in the sandbox and now I got to put my adult shoes on.
Yeah. And then I see others that have really taken a hold of the steps already. Maybe have been here a little longer, heard some of these things a little longer, had some good advice from us, friends, family, financial advisors, and they are already kind of in, oh, that's fun. I can go do that next. So it's very, I would say, all over the spectrum and how people are actually absorbing this.
Well, and that could have to do with how much of a mess they're presently living in. And I'm not trying to be rude. I just think it's like your home budget. It's like your world. Many people are more of a mess than you would ever know. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Because we keep that part of our life pretty private. And so we cover it up, we bury it, and we live in a perpetual state of sort of like fear of either being found out or the other shoe dropping.
Yeah.
And so I think very much like Ramsey kind of stuff, the first step of looking at your home budget, and it's terrifying when you first confront the idea. And most of us just run away from it because it seems like too much work, or we're not willing to confront what we need to do.
Yeah.
But there's such a sense of liberation once you take the first steps.
Yeah. And that's what I think I got to see some of that.
People who have taken the first steps, I think when they see the next ones, because they're like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah. And I will say that because this is one of those, like, think people don't want to talk about money. I have been super proud of the people sitting in these rooms and being open and honest about their journeys and giving other people insight as to what's working well for them. That's been really fun in these groups as well.
So what were some of the more, surprising items that were on the list that people were, wait, this, like when they say, I never heard this, what's at the top of the list of, oh my gosh, that's the thing I need to do?
Yeah. I think the S corporation, I mean, that sounds like the way that we told them to structure their business for business entity and truly separating your business finances, that was a fun discussion. I think a lot of people were told early on to, set up their LLC. Like a lot of them, oh, well, I thought it was an LLC. Why does that one matter? And kind of working through, which I was very lucky to have Lisa Wheeler in the room, who works with some of our agent financial services clients, to give a little bit more insight. Because this is definitely, I am not a financial advisor or a CPA in any kind of way. But that was a big aha, just talking through why that is actually better in the long run for their businesses.
Well, and what helps me is obviously my business and selling real estate are two different things. What helps me is I did sell real estate, one, and number two, we run Century 21 as an S Corp.
Yes.
We run RPM and Real Clear as S Corps.
Yep.
And we do it although at a different scale, for all the same reasons.
Yes.
From a taxation perspective and from a payroll perspective. And so, yeah, we do have a pretty deep insight into why we need to structure things this way. Obviously, we're also not tax consultants or advisors. And so we recommend, and that's one of the steps, right?
Yes, talk to somebody, have professional help. Yeah.
But when you've set the stream up correctly, the flow, and when you've built the foundations correctly, and when you start to have your books in order, all of a sudden that conversation with a tax advisor or whoever, it's a fundamentally different conversation.
Yeah.
Because it's not a hot mess. So the S Corp thing, what else was surprising or insightful to people?
People really wanted to dig into the pay yourself a salary. So that was kind of the follow through thought on the S corporation and why.
Because they like the idea, because they don't know how that works.
They have the biggest questions about, well, how do I know what to pay myself? And what's a good amount? What's a bad amount? And then there is a lot of gray area because it's so situational. What is your spouse doing? What is your holistic picture? And that's where Lisa and I cannot be the advisors on that. Like, you really have to have somebody that can help you look at your full picture there.
There's budget considerations, and then there's like other revenue sources, your spouse or whoever considerations, but then there's also taxation considerations. And so it's the algorithm for that is hyper subjective.
Yes.
And this is it's the game, it's the beauty, it's the art. Like, everybody wants the answer, but what you learn, I'm starting to sound like an old man. But what you learn more and more as you play the game and you get older is like, all the way along you were frustrated with not having the answers, but you start to get to a point where you realize, no, the game of finding the answers along the way in a very gray and fluid space is part of what makes the entrepreneurial endeavor so beautiful and fun. Yeah. But in the moment, it's like, give me the answer.
I know. It's like, I really
we don't have one.
And I don't like that. I'm not comfortable in the I can't give you an answer space.
You're a one.
I know. But so I definitely want to help people in that way. But this is, again, I think the next key piece of that transition is you do need some professional help outside of, in some way.
So from your purview, and it's limited. It's not like you're meeting with everyone on this, and it's not like you're everybody's financial advisor or their guru.
No.
But where do you think, from your purview, our team then is ahead?
Good.
Like, where are we winning on this relative to our peers?
Yeah, I would say, one, as we're saying this whole time, even just talking about it and showing them the path, I think we're totally winning in that space. I would say our agents in general, I think because we did beat the drum super early on, most of them are setting up their cash flow correctly. Yeah. So that is a really important part as far as just separating your finances super early on. Yeah. So I feel like we're definitely winning in that space. And I would say, based on how we can even structure as simple as your commission checks, we can help you set aside some of it for taxes automatically from the very
We're
get-go.
Doing that as a service up front for people?
We can do that. You just have to talk to Brooke and she needs to know what percentage you want to go to a different account, and we can do that right away for you.
I'm sorry. I know I am involved here, and I think I own the place.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I knew that. So Brooke is separating people's commission checks item by item. She's parsing them up into a tax account and a direct living expense account or business account.
Business account.
Wow.
Yeah.
Go us.
Yeah. So I think we really are winning in the cash flows. I mean, like, if this cash flow picture is just so incredibly, extraordinarily helpful for a person like me who's visual. So definitely check that piece out. And it just makes so much intuitive sense, but we can help. And I think that is the space we are definitely winning in, and our agents are winning in. And then I would say agent financial services. I don't know. We are winning in the helping our agents with their books you can sign up for that program. And I think it's anybody that's in the classes that is in that service is raves.
They're way ahead.
Yes, they're way ahead with all their stuff.
Flip the script then on that. So where are we obviously way behind? Or where are we not behind? Because I don't think we are behind anybody else. Where is the biggest work to be done?
I think it still is in the business book space, in the budgeting space, in the deductions and the P&Ls. It's still some of that foundational knowledge of, and I'm thinking about kind of some of the things that we're putting together in these other journeys, but it's really about the strategy, I think, behind the money beyond long-term. Yeah. I think that's kind of where I'm so excited about. People have pretty good foundations generally, but yeah, it's like so I see the numbers. What in the heck do they actually mean? And what should I actually do with this? And we start talking about reinvesting in your business. It's like, well, but what does that mean? And what does that look like? And so I think the strategy part is the part that we're maybe missing and could talk more about.
Again, aside, I'll go to lagoons again.
Fun. Love the analogy.
I was listening to someone talk the other day about the distinction between things that can be taught and things that just have to be learned.
Yes.
And it's frustrating because it sucks to think that there's certain things that nothing teaches you and no one can teach you. You just have to figure it out slowly but surely over time. And I think we're giving everybody as much of what can be taught. And then the rest of it really is the gray that you have to just figure out and learn and dial in over time. Yeah,
and have good people on your side. Like this is where having a good financial advisor or having your stuff in AFS or whatever that looks like, you got to have people that know what they're doing in this space that you trust that can help advise you.
Something I want to say from, I lost my thoughts earlier on, but you were describing maybe the reactions and the insights. I was just thinking about what's so powerful about what we're trying to put together here. Yeah. Most of the power is just in the ability to, what's the right metaphor? Just to jump in the helicopter and like fly to the end of the path and just take a quick look at the geography of where we're headed.
Yeah, totally.
Seeing the entire journey and going, okay, I get it. Like this is what I'm trying to build long term. It helps me map the benchmarks along the way.
Definitely.
So it's not just here's today's work and you don't know where you're headed.
Yes.
It's here's today's work and I understand the trajectory and the direction of what I'm trying to build.
Why those little things that at the beginning matter. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you said begin with the end in mind. And I think we struggle with that. And society tends to not do a good job, university, school, whatever, of showing us the end. So few of us have pictured what a financially sound business could actually look like one day.
Right.
And we lack imagination, and it's hard to go that far out because we're all stuck in all the things we need to do today.
Right now,
but I do think that these journeys accomplish that, at least in part, as much as I think we can.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, is there anything else you want to share? I want to talk about transition 3 because that's what's coming.
Yeah.
I'll ask the same question about transition 2. Yeah. So I said on T1, I think that becomes core curriculum. All new agents take it. We'll cover it at like Reconnect probably once a year.
Yep.
But it'll be available in a self-paced course.
Yes.
Okay. T2, same thing, or what are you planning to do with transition 2 for people?
Yeah, I think because transition 2 and transition 3 are where we're going is bigger. We have, smaller groups of people that are kind of there yet. I don't want to not do the curriculum, but in my mind, maybe it's more of a rotation. It's not every single year we do it. In my mind, it's you have the availability. Here's where the resources are because it will be in self-study form, but we still will teach it in person, maybe just not as consistently or regularly as that transition 1. But it kind of just depends.
And it's hard for me to imagine not offering it once a year.
I know. It really is about the groups of people that we have too, because when I look at it, we still are under a third of the company that got to be a part of these classes so that part is hard for me. I'm like, I want this in everybody's hands.
Well, and people are busy and time of year is tough and everyone's lives are busy, but I'm 100% confident that anyone that's not gone through transition 2, even if you're pretty far ahead, I suspect you're missing out. And a lot of these things, I'm trying to think of the context I was imagining the other day. There's so many places that I sit in a context where I've learned all this before, and I'm you know what it is? It's jiu-jitsu is where I was thinking about this. Some of the fundamental classes that I revisit, it's been 3 years now, I know all this stuff, but you hear it all again, and you reprocess, and you go, wait, I'm doing this wrong, and wait, this is what I need to dial in.
It's almost like you hear it from a different lens because you have made a little more progress. You
100%.
Like interpret it and digest it differently.
You were you missed 50% of whatever's being taught the first round because you're not ready for it.
Yes.
And so I'm not trying to we don't make money when people come to our courses, so it's not like I'm trying to sell people anything, but
they're missing out.
I'm convinced that you need to find a way to get into transition 2. So my encouragement to you would be to try and find a way to teach it once a year.
Yeah.
Even though it's in a self-paced context, because something different happens in a room.
The classroom is so great. I mean, that's always going to be my first choice.
And for all of these leads, team, systems, and money, there's no doubt in my mind that our capacity, you, me, and our team, to help people see the end and understand the journeys, and we're not there yet because we're still building out these T3s. But the more we can help people see the journeys, not conclusion, but like where it can go.
Yeah.
I think it's going to help our agents really map these out.
Yeah. And I think that's what we're endeavoring to do in the next year to 2 years, is to really have all of this kind of mapped out for everybody. Yeah.
Okay. So we're busy building transition 3 as we speak.
Yeah.
And our intention for transition 3, at least the first teaching of it, maybe I shouldn't say this out loud, but here goes.
Do it. I think it's fine.
Typical Dylan move. Is to actually discuss this at one of our Golden Circle breakfasts, business meetings.
Yep.
And so we're going to be running through that curriculum for the first time in more of a very open discussion format.
Yes.
At our, maybe towards the end of the year, August Golden Circle breakfast or business meeting. And then we'll make that available as a course as well. And we'll probably teach it generally for everybody.
Yes.
What is Transition 3 all about?
So create freedom and wealth. And when we were working on this, building this Transition 3 out, I really was just picturing, for me, it was the aha moment of the on versus in that kind of accompanies these survival to significance journeys, where I really saw your money becomes this space where you get to go work out of your business. So the in and the on, based on all of these other symbiotic relationships and those other spaces, are working together so well, and your money's working for you, that you get to go work out, like put your money to work in other spaces. So I think that was where I really saw that for the first time as we were kind of working on building that.
Well, that's true on the system side too.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Out means lots of different things. Out doesn't mean you just go away and drink Mai Tais on the beach. I think out means you've got more time to focus on your people. I'm moving more and more into the out space in my business career, as more of my time and energy is just spent on building up leaders and helping people's careers. Because I'm less in the operational side. Yes. Out on money doesn't have to mean, again, that you've got like a helicopter and you're on a beach. It means that you are financially liberated to be in a position where you get to take advantage of opportunities in the marketplace.
Yes.
And you get to leverage your financial resource. Your money starts to make money, but also you get to decide that you want to...
Where your money goes.
I want to apply it to things that matter to me.
Yes.
And that's the goal here. And so I think what's interesting about building out this final module is there's minor changes at that point to the cash flow structure, but at that point we've kind of put most of it together.
Correct.
It's more about now getting smart on tax avoidance is the wrong word, but
being smart is extra smart.
Well, what you learn once you build wealth is most of wealthy people's, and I don't put myself in that category, but most of the wealthy's capacity to grow wealth it's less about the perpetual increase of revenue creation.
Yeah.
And it's more about the avoidance of the dumb tax or tax in general.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much you make, it matters how much you get to keep. And then it matters how much you get to leverage that for growth.
Yeah. And I think of specifically, in our space, I really do think of that real estate investment portfolio, like where's your money sitting? Yeah. It's technically in assets, right? Instead of,
Well, and it's back to gray. I think that Transition 3, there's some fundamental steps that we know we need to help people with. But I also think that we're back to, there's a million ways to skin this cat now.
Yes,
but if you've got a business that's running well on systems, leads, and team, and you've built the cash flow progression and you've built your reserves and your structure and your tax savings correctly, it's just a natural, and it might be beyond your capacity to imagine today. But I can affirm with 100% confidence that there are many people inside of our walls that are in that space right now. They might not have it all together, but they certainly have broken through the ceiling on a financial level where their money is now working for them in ways that they didn't think it was imaginable.
Yeah.
And we were having this conversation last night over a bottle of wine with a friend, just about people's capacity to imagine. We tend to only be able to see one step ahead.
Yeah.
We can imagine where we are because we are there, and some of us can't even see that. And we can see maybe the next progression.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to imagine
10 or whatever, how big that can be, right?
10x.
Yeah.
But I think when we get to see the end and we believe that it's possible, I think it encourages us to take the small, stupid, annoying, actionable steps that we have to take today to go fix our freaking budget.
Yeah.
And fix our checking accounts. And
it's not just a thing that somebody's telling you to do. You can really see the why. And how it's going to matter. And it's a necessity to be able to go do those bigger things that you're long-term want to go do. So, yeah.
Well, look, I know that we're at like chapter 1 of 20 on what we're building here with these modules. I'm so excited about these, though. I think what we're doing is unique and special. And I don't care about what we're building. I'm excited about what I think this can do inside people's lives.
Agents,
yes. If they actually just step in and have patience and the determination to like
do the work, right?
And one bite at a time.
Yeah.
And I think we've seen the fruit of that. And we've been doing this for 20 years. We just haven't had it packaged this well.
Yeah.
Wrapping up, these are in module format now in the Forge, T1,
check out. It's incredible. I'm honestly, like, if you did miss the courses and we're not offering them imminently, I think going to catch up, go check out in Forge. We have it really well categorized. Go straight to the money, and you're going to find both of these modules, Transition 1 and Transition 2. Start where you need to start. Perhaps review Transition 1, even depending on where you think you are.
I think you're silly not to.
I just think it is just such a beautiful story and a beautiful journey, and it's there for you.
Yeah, and they're very, again, not to say don't go to the courses, because I think there's something magical there.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
But you really can pick these up, read them, and understand. This is not that complicated.
Yeah.
And then there's a bunch of us here to help if you have questions along the way. But
yeah, definitely.
Closing thoughts from you on maybe what you're excited about or what's next?
I'm just excited about all my perfect magic wand world is having all of these done. I just am so looking forward to getting all of these journeys complete and in our agents' hands and teaching them consistently and having all those transition ones ready for our agents that are entering our walls to get. The whole journey to me is just invaluable. It's just
kind of frustrating not having it
but
all
I'm
together
so
yet.
excited about it. Like, the work to be done is so fun for me because we get to go build it for you guys.
Well, it's an ambitious initiative. It's big. And no one's taken the effort to try and put something like this together. But it's also not
rocket science.
It's not rocket science. There's nothing crazy here. It's just the secret is there is no secret, and it's all been figured out already. It's just most brokerages aren't structured in a way that they can allocate resources to be able to take the time to build this up because they're too busy just trying to chase the next lead or recruit the next person. So I'm proud of what you guys are building here, and I'm excited to see how it progresses.
Together, it's fun. I'm super excited about it. So stay tuned and come along the journey with us.
Good for you. Good stuff.
Thanks for joining us today. To learn more about how to build a profitable, sustainable, and enjoyable business, go to morethanmorepodcast.com.